won't let him go. These faces don't faze me. I'ma get it on my own. Cause I ain't never asked for no help. I just did it by myself. Can't nobody tell me no, no, no. And they ain't gotta love you. Long as you just love you, you gon' be alright on your own. Straight off the dome.
Off the Dome. You heard it from the song, and you're looking at us now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Off the Dome Sports Podcast, your favorite sports podcast where two, sometimes three, sports lovers sit and give their hot takes off the dome.
Off the dome.
Oh, you can hear him from the background, from the rafters. Here comes Mustang. I am Redfish, and sitting in between us tonight, we've got Mr. Rebo. How you doing tonight, Mr. Rebo?
Surviving.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear.
Not only is it just Rebo, but it's Rebo Hustle.
Rebo Hustle.
Rebo Hustle.
He hates that nickname, I already know. For that song, we want to shout out Ezzy, E-Z-Z-I on Spotify. The song is called Off the Dome. Give it a listen.
Mute it.
If you're listening in right now on newrockradio.us, we would like to thank you for listening to New Rock Radio, not only right now, but all the time, 24/7. You will hear the best and your favorite rock music, whether it be local, national, classic, new rock. It's all on there, newrockradio.us. Also, check out newcountryradio.us. Same thing on there. A platform running some great country music. I know I love country music. Rebo loves some country music as well.
Sir.
And Byron will dabble every now and then.
Dabble.
He's a dabbler.
He's a dabbler. What can we say? But yeah, make sure to give New Rock Radio, newcountryradio.us, both of them, give them a listen. You can also find the Radio House Studios platforms on Facebook and YouTube, Radio House Studios, as well as our own platforms, Off the Dome Sports Podcast on Facebook and YouTube, as well as on Twitter at _Dome Pod. And that's how you keep up to date with all of the latest happenings in sports and for the podcast. One more thing out of the way, we'd like to thank our sponsor, Petra Restaurant and Lounge. You can see the sign right behind Senior Rebo. Petra Restaurant and Lounge is the best dining experience in the area. They offer daily chef specials as well as a fantastic atmosphere. Not only have the dining side, but a lounge side as well, with one of the greatest wine selections in the river parishes. And they also have a great catering menu. So make sure to give them a call at 985-359-8888 to set up that catering, or go ahead and visit at 1036 West Airline Highway, Petra Restaurant and Lounge. How we doing, Rebo?
NBA season's finally coming up.
Full swing.
Full swing.
Hey, we're like 45% of the way through. We're almost to that 50% mark.
Yeah,
Pels have played
All-Star
like,
break is more like the definite halfway point. That's like a month away.
Yeah.
So we're coming up close.
yeah, I'm just saying, like, game-wise, we've played like 38, 39 games. 41 games is the halfway. We're getting pretty close to the statistic halfway point here.
Yeah.
We're going to get into NBA, but first we want to talk about some football. Everybody loves some football.
Football.
Week 18 is coming up upon us pretty darn fast. And Week 18 is the last week of the regular season. So like y'all said, playoffs coming up on us real soon. I'm excited. You excited for the playoffs?
Yeah, definitely the playoffs. I mean, Week 18, there's not many games that actually kind of matter. But,
Yeah, there's like 4.
Yeah, and so definitely the playoff picture looking pretty tight. I think there's only 8 teams that can get in an NFC. I think there's like 10 that can get in an AFC. Real exciting times. Playoff football is always the best football.
And I want us all three together to kind of go through what the playoffs will look like in this scenario. So the first matchup I want to ask you is going to be the AFC South winner. Jags
get
versus
in,
Titans.
Jags get in for shiggity.
I agree. I think
Shiggity.
the Jags pull that one off. Buffalo and New England.
No matter how long the Bills starters play, they're still going to win.
I can agree with that one. Bengals and Ravens.
I've got
the
win.
oh, you disgust
Rams.
me.
I mean, they
We've
caught
seen
magic.
some Baker magic.
They
in the
caught
last
magic with Baker
2-3
in his
weeks.
first start. Yeah, you're right, but I don't know. You're still betting on Baker, and I'm never a better on Baker.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to bet on the Lions to make the playoffs either because you literally can, and I'm not going to do it.
You should.
I'm not going to. I don't have the money for that.
If only they had TJ. Still.
If only they had TJ still. But if they still had TJ, I don't know if the Vikings would be as good as they are. So,
But also, Green Bay's kind of catching fire. And
yeah,
so it's a
which
tough
comes
game
down
for
to our
them.
last matchup: Detroit at Green Bay on Sunday Night Football. Green Bay is a win and in situation, no matter what happens. If Green Bay wins, they're in the playoffs. Who wins, Green Bay or Detroit?
It's hard not to say Green Bay. Like Aaron Rodgers up against the wall. They're finally catching fire the last 3-4 weeks. Chris Go Pack, go.
Thank you.
That
You made a
messes up my
grave
playoff
mistake.
seeding.
You made a grave mistake there.
I had no idea.
Well, I'll give you some time to recuperate here
I just got to type a different name.
while I go through what the playoffs looks like in this scenario. I think this is exactly how Byron and I had it playing out as well on the last episode. So in the NFC, we've got Philly at the 1st seed, 2nd seed San Francisco taking on the 7th seed Green Bay Packers, 3rd seed Minnesota taking on the 6th seed New York Giants, and the 4th seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the 5th seed Dallas Cowboys. So let's run through the NFC playoffs, and we'll get to the AFC after. First matchup, we're looking at 2nd seed San Fran taking on 7th seed Green Bay. What are you looking for in that matchup?
Mr. Relevant, Brock Purdy.
Mr. Relevant, Brock Purdy.
He's game manager that the Niners just kind of need. They bust their chops on defense and running the ball. Christian McCaffrey's been electric ever since they traded for him. Both him, Debo, and Elijah Mitchell all got cleared to play this week. And so that means they'll be ready for the playoffs as well. It's hard not to pick against. It's hard to pick against the 49ers in this matchup.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that Niners defense is super, super hot. One of the top 5 defenses in the league, undoubtedly. Arguably top 3, arguably number 1. And Brock Purdy, he might not be super flashy, and he might not make he might not be throwing for 500 yards and 3 touchdowns or whatever the stats may be, but he's winning games. And in the NFL, that's all you can ask for is to win the games. You win every game, you make the Super Bowl. That's how it works. But yeah, I like the swag of the San Fran defense. They're finally getting healthy. Elijah Mitchell's going to be there. CMC's going to be there. Debo's going to be there. That's 3 dynamic weapons that you're giving Brock Purdy to work with, and he's been playing well enough on his own. So in our scenario, I also take San Fran to win that game.
As do I.
I figured
They
you would.
are my Super Bowl winners. So
I figured you would say as much. And then this is the thing I was most excited to talk to you about tonight. Your Minnesota Vikings. You picked them to make the Super Bowl before the season started, and here they are sitting at the 3rd seed.
Y'all thought I was crazy at Soundman. The Vikings are here to stay.
The Vikings?
Soundman said, "Cute laptop, Reese."
I got a new one today, so this will be the last time you'll see this one.
Well, it's a little smaller compared to everybody else's. Wow. It was a joke. But yeah, 3rd seed Minnesota Vikings taking on the 6th seed New York Giants. Giants, a team that started off hot and kind of cooled down. Same thing with the Vikings, really. Yeah. They were, I think, 10-1 at one point. They're looking to end the season about 13-4. Granted that they beat the Chicago Bears this weekend. Reese, tell me about the Minnesota Vikings and why they will or will not win this game.
Before he goes, I'm going to
Okay.
tell you about the Minnesota Vikings.
All right, go ahead.
from myself and Soundpoint's point of view, as he just commented. The Vikings can never cover the damn spread.
Don't got to cover the
Fact.
spread. It's all about the wins, baby.
That's a fact.
And I hate them for that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they were 1-11 to start the season or something like that.
against the spread. They
Yeah.
were 1-11, and then on the flip side, they were 11-1 in one-score games, which
Them.
that was actually an NFL record for most wins in one-score games in a NFL season.
Our favorite stat
Our favorite stat
of
is
Your favorite stuff.
your favorite stat of any football season is what if every one-score game went the other way? UAB would have been undefeated in college football or something like that. Like
up
until
that
the
point,
LSU game.
yeah, it was crazy.
They would have been like ranked number 8, and LSU would have been ranked number 9
Yeah.
in that game.
But yeah, Byron, Vikings versus Giants. What are you looking for in that matchup?
I'm looking for the Giants to come out swinging. It's been a while since we've seen the Giants in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And really looking forward to seeing the Giants lose in the first round of the playoffs.
Does the Giants swing just mean hand the ball to Saquon 30 times?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
They're going to come out aggressive with Saquon, and they're going to try and stay aggressive, and it just won't work.
Fun fact on, I forget what the show is, but Max Kellerman this morning said that Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, is a top 5 quarterback this season.
I saw that clip on Twitter, and I kept scrolling.
I almost had an aneurysm just looking at it. It was a tough read to see that the only 4 quarterbacks he had above him were Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert,
Allen.
and Hurts.
Not Josh Allen?
No.
Oh.
Yeah. Interesting, right? Interesting, right?
So, man said Max Kellerman is a D-bag.
He is.
Absolutely.
Agreed. But yeah,
But it's hard to be a top 5 quarterback if your team runs the ball over 30 times a game. Like Saquon in our league, where if you get 5 carries, you get 2 points. He was going off and not getting that much yards.
he was getting 8 points a game just off of carries.
more than that half
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah, I mean it's fantasy.
It also doesn't help being a quarterback to have that receiver room, which
Yeah.
we just
Yes,
haven't seen
yes,
be
yes.
productive in
Very
a long
true.
time.
And
And
not
then
only
they
that,
traded away their young star in Kadarius Toney.
he wasn't even seeing the
That's a
field though.
brave statement.
I mean, you have Kenny Golladay who puts forth 0 effort. I think he has 4 catches on the season. Richie James, who looked like Kadarius Toney 2.0 and then got injured. You've got Darius Slayton, who is the definition of mid. You've got Sterling Shepard, who tore his ACL before the
Again.
year. Like, that receiver room is nothing. But yeah, for this matchup, I don't think Daniel Jones is a top 5 quarterback, by the way. He has had this is his best season to date.
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
agree. The
because
Giants-
he's turning over the ball a lot less.
The Giants as a whole have
they're
moved
they're
forward a lot.
9-7-1. They're the 6th seed. Before the season, if you would have told me the Giants were making the playoffs, I would have said no. They're finishing last in their division. Like
Yeah, they
that's,
might win
that's
3 games.
stupid.
Yeah.
But here we are, Minnesota versus the Giants. Minnesota's been cold recently. Over the
Except
past.
for the biggest comeback in NFL history.
Well, yeah. I mean, but that's the Colts. Like they shouldn't have been down 33 points to the Colts.
Happens.
Sure, but I'm just saying they haven't played their best football recently.
True.
Especially
But-
not in Green Bay.
However,
Didn't watch that game.
yeah. neither. However, I think they definitely have what it takes to beat the Giants. As long as the game's not on prime time, they should be good.
Yeah.
Because if it's on prime time, Kirk Cousins is going to fall apart. I
we
just
go
want to see.
again.
I just want to see Reese's face for that. But no, it doesn't matter. They have Dalvin Cook. They got Jettas. They got Adam Thielen, and they have a talented defense. It depends what defense you get, but they have talent on the D line, in the secondary, in the line. Like they have talent everywhere on the field. So they've got what it takes to make it past the Giants. I'll definitely take Minnesota. I think
Thank
Reese
you.
is going to roll with Minnesota.
Yeah, I'm definitely rolling with Minnesota.
Yeah.
They're my Super Bowl favorite.
Still? We'll see.
Favorite out of the NFC, at least.
We'll see. All right. And then probably the game that's going to end up being the closest, we've got Tampa Bay and Dallas as the 4th and 5th seed. I think Tampa is – this is a bold statement, but I think Tampa's the worst NFC team in the playoffs.
It's close for me. It's either them or the Giants.
Right. But Tampa is just so inconsistent, and I feel like a lot of their wins have been like, oh, did they really win? Like, they don't feel like deserved wins. But they figured out how to win it, so they pull it out. But they'll be playing home in Raymond James with Dallas coming to town. Dallas is an absolute powerhouse. If things go their way, they could end up as the 1 seed. If Philly loses and Dallas wins, they could end up as the 1 seed somehow, with a couple other things happening. But Dallas is still looking to win the NFC East. We don't think it happens here, but if you're a team that is a 1 game away from winning your division, you might win your first playoff game too. I'm taking Dallas.
Yeah, I'm also going to ride with Dallas on this. I think they've kind of flown under the radar for a while until like a few weeks ago, and they're like, oh, when they beat the Eagles, and they're like, oh, they have a shot to win the division still. And that's when I kind of like started looking into them a little more and found out that they've been playing really good football against some tough teams. So I'm also going to be rocking with Dallas.
Yeah, I think Dallas is like, we know that their offense is going to keep hitting. Like, they got Dak back. Ever since they got Dak back, they've been looking very good. But their defense, like, we knew they had a good front seven. Like, we knew that their pass rushers get after the quarterback. We knew that their linebackers aren't big names, but they're stoppers. But lately, their young cornerbacks have come up with turnover after turnover after turnover, and it has been electric to watch their defense. Like, I've been watching just for Zeke because we had him on our fantasy team, and I was like, this defense is actually really good.
Yeah. They started allowing a lot of points at the end of the year. To like Philly scored 34 with Gardner Minshew. Jacksonville scored 40 on them. But they still created turnovers and they made big plays. I think it was, I think they got to the point where it was kind of like one of those field position, always on the field things where, like, if the other team gets the ball at the 50 and you've already had 3 defensive possessions in that quarter, it's kind of hard to keep a team from scoring. So with Dallas's talent, I definitely see it. Byron, what's your opinion on the Tampa-Dallas game?
You already gave it.
Again, I'm rocking with Dallas.
Cool. So
maybe he thought maybe I changed my mind.
I don't know. I'm just saying. No, I'm just trying to make sure you're included. You're not talking over there. Not my fault. But so in that case, Philly would be taking on Dallas in the second round, and San Fran would be taking on Minnesota. I think Philly takes the Dallas game as long as Jalen Hurts is healthy. They almost beat him without him. Adding Jalen Hurts to the equation not only adds a passing element, but a running element, which opens up the game for Miles Sanders. You probably keep your offense on the field a little bit longer, giving your defense more time to rest than they did against Dallas. I would take Philly in a Dallas matchup.
Yeah, I would agree with that. We saw the matchup already. Pretty close game. Philly didn't have their starting quarterback. Especially once playoff hits, it's a whole different vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Players they seem to be tougher. They seem to be smarter. Because if you're not, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'd be taking Philly too. I really like this team. Even though I have the Niners to win it all, I'd like Philly.
Yeah, for sure. Rebo?
Yeah, I mean, Philly, like, Jalen Hurts, if he didn't get hurt, clear-cut MVP this year. You add that back to a team that only lost by 2 or something like that to the same team recently. Yes, the playoffs is a different thing. Football can go either way. I like the Eagles in this matchup. I'm kind of shocked that I'm saying this, being I was such an Eagles hater earlier this year.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah, you were.
But
15.
the Eagles definitely make it to the
NFC Championship.
Yeah.
And the question is, who will they take on? I know Byron's take on this. I know your take on this because it's y'all two teams, San Fran versus Minnesota, in that divisional matchup. Byron's got San Fran making it all the way. You've got Minnesota making it all the way.
I don't know.
State your cases.
Let me state the opposite case.
Okay.
So the Niners defense, like, we've seen what happens when the Vikings play against an elite defense. Like Jair Alexander. What's his name? Jair? Yeah. He shut down Justin Jefferson. That kind of spoiled the game for the Vikings. If I don't know any of the Niners DBs by name, but if they have a guy that can lock him down,
Charvarius Ward.
yeah,
He's
If
been
he
like a
can
top
lock
5
him-
corner this year.
If he can lock Justin Jefferson down, they definitely have a shot. That offense stays on the field a lot. It just takes time away from the Vikings. But I will always ride with my Vikings this year at least.
This year, at least.
Salman brings up a good point. He said, can Purdy really get them to the Super Bowl? I don't think so.
Okay.
And I'd have to agree with him because when it comes down to playoffs, an experienced player usually pretty clearly better than a rookie.
Yeah.
Even though I still like San Francisco to win that game, I don't think the Vikings defense can hold off that Niners offense for a full 4 quarters. I think they will outscore them because of San Francisco's defense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
The
I hear you. I hear
matchup
you.
looks great for San Francisco.
Yeah,
in
the
that game.
matchup works better in San Fran's favor than it does for Minnesota.
Yeah.
I think this will be a close game either way. They both offensive have plenty of weapons. I think it comes down to which defense is better, and for me, that's obviously San Fran. I think Minnesota's offense is a little bit better, but the gap between the defenses is much greater. San Fran's defense, I think if there's any team in this NFC side where I can say a defense might win you a championship, San Fran might be the only team I think that about. So I'm going to take San Fran to beat Minnesota in a game that I would assume would be very, very, very close and very, very, very entertaining.
San Fran's also the only team in the NFC that I think could have a chance to beat the Eagles.
Yeah, which would take us to the NFC Championship. You have San Fran, I have San Fran, Reese has Minnesota. In a San Fran versus Philly matchup in Philadelphia, I'm taking the Eagles. I think, in my opinion, it's only because Philly's at home.
A healthy Eagles team, yes.
A healthy Eagles team at home, very hard to beat. I would take Philly over San Fran. If San Fran were home, I might switch. But because Philly was the number 1 seed, and they'll be healthier and get that bye week, I'm taking Philly.
Yeah, I could definitely respect it. I can see where you're coming from. But I got to ride with my pick from the beginning.
Yeah.
Even though the AFC contender is out of the question.
Yep.
We're not even going to talk about it.
Oh, Broncos?
He talked about it.
Yep.
I'm going to rock with them. If they go into Philly, again, I think they're the only team that could have a chance at beating them at home.
Mm-hmm.
And that defense is just so good.
They are very good. So
And I'm a very firm believer in defenses win you championships.
that's fair. Reese, give us both matchups. So if it's Philly versus San Fran or Philly versus Minnesota, who's winning either game?
San Fran, Philly, I give it to Philly. It's just going to come down to an offensive battle, and I don't think Brock Purdy can hang. Vikings, Eagles, give me the Eagles again. I've been talking so much about how the Vikings can catch lightning in a bottle and all this, but it's kind of tough whenever a healthy Eagles team has just shown night in and night out that they're the team to beat.
Yeah. And, the Saints just beat them, so they don't look good recently. But against Dallas, a Dallas team that was fully healthy, with Gardner Minshew, they put up 34 points. If you put up 34 points in the playoffs, you're probably going to win the game. Because for some reason, defenses always play better in the playoffs.
Yes.
I like Philly to go to the Super Bowl. I had them before the season making the Super Bowl, and I'm not losing my pick. On to the AFC side. We're looking at the first seed Kansas City Chiefs. And a team that I never thought would make the playoffs this year as well, kind of like with the Giants. The Pittsburgh Steelers sneak in at the 7th seed to take on the 2nd seed Buffalo Bills.
Can never count out Tomlin.
No, it's crazy. What Tomlin has done with this team is he has earned a lot of respect from me personally. I think he's a fantastic coach. 3rd seed Cincinnati Bengals taking on the 6th seed Baltimore Ravens, which has a weird thing going on due to the if the Ravens win, then they'll have to do a coin flip to decide who's the home team. But all the Bengals have to do is to avoid that. is to win. So hopefully the Bengals can win to avoid that whole coin flip situation due to the Damar Hamlin situation, which we addressed on the last episode, and he's doing a lot better since then, thankfully.
He's talked to a lot of his teammates.
He FaceTime his team. He is no longer intubated. He's breathing on his own. They said he is intact as far as his brain goes, so he shouldn't have any brain damage. And they said, he could be released from the hospital as early as next Monday. So that would be an amazing thing for Damar.
Yeah.
As the medical man, what do you say, Reese?
I'm not gonna get into being intubated and having a pulse and all that stuff, but T. Higgins is the one that hit him, right?
Yeah.
Supposedly, I don't know how true this is or not, but evidently T. Higgins did not leave the hospital for however. I still don't know if he left the hospital.
Yeah, I did. I saw the same report.
He feels so guilty.
I saw the same report that T. Higgins is
the
as
first
of
night.
this morning, he was still at the hospital. He hadn't left the hospital because he said he couldn't help but feel responsible, which he shouldn't. That was such a
Freak
routine
accident.
football play.
Yeah.
You watch the tackle over and over, and you're like, that just looks like football. It just does. There was no head-to-head contact. It was on his chest.
Shoulder to chest, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't anything out of the ordinary. And Josh Allen even pointed that out in his press conference, saying, if anybody's giving T. Higgins hate, you're wrong for that, because there's nothing he could have done in that situation. But yeah, again, just happy Damar's doing better.
In other AFC news, it is rumored that Miami Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel may be losing his job after
If
this
the
season.
Dolphins don't make the playoffs.
If they don't win next week,
Yeah, I saw that same
which
report,
to me is crazy.
that if the Dolphins miss the playoffs, Mike McDaniel could be out the door, which is insane because they will have gone 8-9 in his first season. And the only reason they'll really have lost a bunch of games is because they were without a quarterback. They didn't have Tua.
When Tua plays, they look
When Tua plays,
like
they
one of the
only
best
had
teams
one
in the
loss.
AFC, and that's crazy.
But the reason being is the whole Sean Payton situation, which we got into. We got to keep on moving through these playoffs. We'll talk about Sean Payton again, I promise. But third seed Cincinnati with Baltimore coming to town, and then fourth seed the Jacksonville Jaguars. As long as they beat the Titans, whoever wins out of Jacksonville and Tennessee will host this game against the Los Angeles Chargers. So first of all, second versus seventh seed Buffalo versus Pittsburgh. This one's easy for me. Buffalo.
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 We don't. Yeah, Buffalo.
Not much to talk about there.
Right.
Yeah.
Cincinnati versus Baltimore. AFC North divisional matchup in the playoffs would be electric. And as Reese pointed out before the podcast, playing 2 weeks in a row, that would be even crazier in my opinion. Not only a divisional matchup, but playing 2 weeks back to back the same opponent.
It 100% boils down to if Lamar is healthy enough to play.
Yeah.
I think if Lamar's healthy enough to play, we were talking about him being an MVP candidate at the beginning of the season. Mm-hmm. He carried my fantasy team for the longest in our dynasty league. I think if Lamar plays, the Ravens win this game. If not, the Bengals win again.
You think if Lamar's healthy, the Ravens win, no question?
No question.
Interesting.
I was talking about this earlier too. The Ravens won the first matchup against Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
So Cincinnati's about to come back and hit them with a two-piece combo. Bang. Week 18 win.
Fries?
Bang. Round 1 win.
Large fry, large Dr. Pepper, extra ranch.
Supersize that.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think Cincinnati, whether Lamar's healthy or not, I don't care. I think Cincinnati wins this game. I think Cincinnati is a very, very good team, and they beat good teams too. They're not a good team that loses to good teams. They're a good team that beats good teams. So give me Cincinnati, whether Lamar's healthy or not. And then the fourth versus fifth seed, Jacksonville versus the Chargers. Before the season, I had the Chargers making the Super Bowl.
So did I.
So I'm gonna stick home with my Chargers. I think Jacksonville's hot, and it's hard to beat a hot team. But the Chargers are also very hot. Won 5 out of their last 6. They've won their last 4 in a row, and their defense has really improved, in my opinion, which was the one thing holding them back. As long as Keenan Allen and Mike Williams can stay healthy together, the Chargers' offense is one of the most electric in football, and I think that'll shine in the playoffs. I'll take the Chargers over the Jags.
I want to throw it back to early in the season. Chargers were a really hot team. Jaguars were also a pretty hot team.
Mm-hmm.
Making bets, threw together a little parlay. I was like, Chargers going to win this game.
Yep.
No, they're not.
It's hard to beat a team twice.
But I think the Jaguars got them figured out. And I think they can come away with this. But if somehow the Titans win, I would take the Chargers over the Titans.
Fair. I would. I mean, personally, I'd take the Chargers either way. But I get it. The Titans are definitely worse than the Jags at this point.
So I really like this Jags team.
I do too. I really do too. Like I hate that they're playing the. If they were playing Baltimore or Pittsburgh, I'd take the Jags.
Like I was telling y'all way earlier in the season, I was like, give me a hot take of the NFL season so far. I was like, the Jaguars are going to be the most electric offense in the NFL because that's how they looked for a very long stretch at the beginning of the season. And then they kind of cooled off.
Then they slammed on the brakes.
Their defense is always shoddy, still is shoddy. But their offense is kicking back up. I mean, and honestly, I feel like the same thing with the Chargers. Like, they started off pretty strong. They have every name possible on they have at least a big name on each level of the defense. But their defense also looked shoddy for a long time in the season. But they did just get back Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and retooled, getting your weapons back. I don't think the Chargers can lose this game, being how shoddy the Jaguars' defense is.
Okay. So, Reese.
But I do think that this is the game to watch.
Yeah, I think
It's
it's
gonna
going to
be
be
a
a
shootout.
really, really good game. So Reese's AFC playoff matchup looks a little bit different as far as who plays who. So Reese, in your playoff matchup, because you have Baltimore winning the game, if Lamar's healthy, which we're assuming he should be for the playoffs, you would have Baltimore going to Kansas City. Who would you have winning that game?
It's a tough one. I mean, the Ravens have been great when
Rebo Hustle just said.
Rebo's already a nickname.
Well,
Hustle's
no,
better.
it's two-parter, hyphenated.
Hyphenated. All right. That's one word. Got it.
The Chiefs are a very good team. And there's really only two teams in the AFC that I think can beat them, especially at home, and that's the Bills and the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
So Chiefs, Jacksonville, I'm taking the Chiefs.
Fair enough. And then my matchup would be Chiefs versus Chargers, another divisional matchup. It seems every time the Chiefs and Chargers play for the past 3 years, it's always a super close, fun game that comes down to the wire. I think the Chiefs have been...
Bet the over.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Chiefs have been very inconsistent to end the year. They almost lost to the Broncos. They almost lost to the Texans. They're playing bad teams close, which, to be fair, they're coming out with wins, and that's all that really matters, but that's not going to hold up in the playoffs. And I've got the upset. I think if there's a team that's going to beat there's three teams in this playoffs I think can beat the Chiefs, and that's Buffalo, Cincinnati, and the Chargers. I think the Chargers have the weapons it takes to expose that Kansas City defense, because Kansas City's defense has never been one that's really, really good. And if you have weapons on the outside like Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, and then you've got Gerald Everett at tight end, you've got Austin Eckler out of the backfield, Justin Herbert's throwing the football.
Sell me.
I think I'm trying my best right now. I think the Chargers have what it takes, and then they've still got names on that defense.
It's old.
Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack coming off the edges against a inconsistent Kansas City Chiefs O-line. I'll take the Chargers.
Speaking of that, those two, Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, have not been as productive as a lot of people thought they were going to be. And not even close.
Because Joey Bosa's been hurt a lot of the year. Khalil Mack
is
Was
old.
disruptive, just doesn't have the stats.
he's top 10 in Defensive Player of the Year voting right now.
Yeah.
Khalil Mack's been a dog. Joey Bosa's been hurt, but guess what? He's healthy now, boy. That's all that matters.
Which Bosa brother's better?
Nick.
Nick, without a doubt.
Nick's probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. But yeah, so for Byron and I, we've got Cincinnati taking on Buffalo in the second matchup. Reese, you would have Buffalo taking on Jacksonville. So Buffalo versus Jacksonville, who would you?
Chargers.
Oh, you had the Chargers winning?
Yeah.
Oh, so you'd have the Chargers versus Buffalo. Who would you have there?
Well, you just sold me on the Chargers' dream, so let's go.
Let's go. So you would have the Chargers
Chargers
versus the Chiefs in the AFC
beating
Championship.
the
You have
Bills.
Bills versus Cincinnati in the divisional, the game we unfortunately missed out on Monday. Who takes this one home?
I think it's shaping up to be somewhat of a Cinderella story in the Buffalo Bills winning.
Because of everything that they've been through?
Correct.
That's fair. I love that storyline. I do. But I'm going to pick the Bengals.
Doesn't love the storyline,
I
apparently.
do love the storyline. I picked the Bengals to win the Super Bowl last week on that episode, so I've got to
go
stick
back
with
now,
that.
yeah.
I'm not going back. So I would have the Bengals versus the Chargers in the AFC Championship. You
Wow.
would have the Chiefs versus the Chargers, and you would have the Bills versus the Chiefs. So
Do we-
in
do
your
they-
matchup,
Do they take it to another coin
I don't
flip?
like what I did.
AFC Championship, Bills are the away team going into Arrowhead. Who takes that one all the way to the bowl?
I think that Josh Allen finally beats the quarter.
New rules.
There is new overtime rules.
Which is why he will win.
All right. So you've got a San Fran versus Buffalo Super Bowl. Rebo,
Hustle.
you've got a Kansas City versus Chargers AFC Championship. Who takes that one home?
Come
So-
back.
I sold you on the. Come on, I
Come
sold
back.
you
You
on the.
sold me
Chargers.
too much. All
right, all right.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
So I've got a Cincinnati versus Chargers AFC Championship. I think that one would be awesome. Burrow versus Herbert, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins versus Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, Eckler versus Mixon. Two like kind of shaky defenses, so we could see a lot of offense. I think it depends whose defense comes up bigger. And
If that were the case,
yeah,
Bengals Chargers in the
in the AFC Championship.
AFC Championship. I think it comes down to one thing for me.
Okay.
The Chargers don't have Eli Apple.
Great point.
Sold.
Absolute great
Sold.
point.
So Bengals
That
win.
low key sells me. But so I had the Chargers preseason,
Yeah.
and then last week I said the Bengals. So for this AFC Championship, I sound like a real homer, and I have to stick with one of my teams. Do I say what I had before the year, or do I say what I had last week? And for me, I'm gonna go with the Chargers.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh gosh.
It's
Oh,
a dream.
do I
I'm
want-
taking the Chargers too.
yes.
They're beating the Chiefs.
Let's go. So I'm taking the Chargers because I think they have been so inconsistent during the year. But what matters, just like what matters in baseball, is who's hot. And the Chargers are the hottest team over the past 4 weeks.
Am I
They're
having
4-0.
a fever dream right now?
Yeah, you probably are.
Mike
But-
Williams, Keenan Allen.
What?
You hate
Austin
Keenan
Eckler.
Allen.
What? You do hate Keenan Allen.
I think he's overrated, but he's good.
What? But yeah, I like the Chargers, man. I think they have all the talent in the world. Nobody expected the Bengals to make the Super Bowl last year. They were an underdog in every matchup they were in, and guess what? They still did it. I think that's going to be the same thing with the Chargers this year. So I've got a Chargers versus Philly Super Bowl, just like I said before the year. And then Reese would have a Chargers versus Philly Super Bowl as well.
Can I go back and make the Vikings so I can
Nope.
say I can say I had it at the beginning of the year
Nope,
too?
ladies and gentlemen, that has been our NFL playoff run through. Hypothetically, we'll give you one once the bracket is finalized, but that's what we're looking at right now. Before we get into your basketball, let's quickly go through the college football playoff. We saw TCU beat Minnesota. We saw Georgia beat Ohio State in two of the most exciting games I've ever watched with my own two eyes. So this national championship on Monday is going to be Georgia versus TCU. Byron and I already touched on it a little bit. So, Rebo, just give us your opinions on it, and then we'll officially pick our winners.
I've got 2 bets this weekend. Both include TCU's money line. This offense is too electric. Their defense has figured out a way to make a big play when it matters. I didn't watch the Georgia-Ohio State game. that close. I know Georgia's consistent, but I think TCU has enough tools in the toolbox to win the game.
What's your thoughts on what Rebo just said?
I still think I'm having a fever dream.
Tools via toolbox, man.
My man is so
both
confused.
of them have TCU winning.
Me and you are throwing this man for a loop right now. We have the Chargers making the Super Bowl, and then
winning
you
it.
said 2 TCU bets. Byron is so confused as to where he is right now.
I want to go back to bed.
All right, Mustang, who's winning the national championship
Georgia.
and why? Why?
Georgia. They're just, when you look at it, SEC schools,
Yeah,
when it comes to athleticism and strength and power,
yeah. Recruiting, history, championships.
everyone else.
Yeah, true.
All right, let me give you all another thing. Let me sell you on TCU.
You're not.
All right, they run a 3-3-5
3-3-5.
with 2-4 eyes.
Wide
Two
or
No.
normal? 3-3-5 wide or normal?
Normal.
No, not
We're not talking about
soccer.
Madden here.
No, I'm saying.
No, 3-3-5. Like
they got they're stacked
I understand.
in the four.
Not
they have
wide.
2-4
Not
eyes.
wide.
Okay.
They have a 3-3 stack with 2-4 eyes, and who's going to take the edge? There's
See-
always one person coming up the middle for the pass rush, and those 2 linebackers and those 5 DBs are getting after it.
Yeah.
They showed it against Michigan, who runs the ball well, and all Michigan's big plays were all passes, except for one.
So to help Reese's point, in that 3-3-5 with the 2-4 eyes, it looks like you should be able to run outside zones all day. That's what it looks like because you have nobody covering that edge over the tackle. So you're like, oh, let's run an outside zone. But the
That's when
speed in which
the outside
TCU's
linebackers.
play, like TCU's defense plays so fast, whether it's the corners committing inside or the linebackers crashing down to stop the run, they get to the line of scrimmage just as fast as the running back does. So it doesn't matter.
When they beat Texas like 34-0 or something like that, I was like, oh, TCU's legit.
TCU is legit,
And I doubted them against Michigan, and they proved me wrong.
If
they got out
TCU
on them and got out and stayed hot the whole way, and that's the big thing against Michigan. They
Yeah.
second half team.
yeah, and their defense came up big.
They convinced me.
TCU's offense is very good, but TCU's defense came up huge against Michigan. They recovered a fumble. They held them in the first half very well, and then they had 2 pick sixes. So if TCU's defense can play as well as they did against Michigan, I will take TCU to win the game. So it looks like your fever dream is continuing because I'm taking the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, I mean, the spread right now is
12 and a half.
12 and a
I checked it
half.
this morning, yeah.
for Georgia.
TCU definitely beats the spread without a doubt in my mind. But I think TCU can win this game too. I think Max Duggan is the difference.
I would love to see TCU win it. I just don't think that they match up well against this Georgia team. I mean, we knew Michigan's defense was sketchy coming into that game. And that brings me to the next thing, which is Georgia's last 2 games, their defense has been not normal.
Very sketchy. They
They went
allowed
30 points to LSU, and what was it, 46?
41.
41.
Not Jenny.
41 to Ohio State.
Yeah.
I think those 2 games are going to be a wake-up call. Kirby's going to get on them, and they're going to go back to what they were doing in the beginning of the season and to the middle of the season, which was not letting their opponent cross the 50.
Yeah. You think they can do that to this TCU offense?
No,
Okay.
but in a similar fashion.
Okay. So if you had to give a final score prediction.
I think it's going to be up there.
Yeah.
At least 34-38.
TCU?
TCU.
Did you bet a
Horny Toads.
correct score?
No, I did not.
You should. I like the confidence.
See, I was thinking 38. I'd go 28-38,
28-38 Georgia.
Georgia.
All right, let me give you the argument against TCU. Michigan straight up lost that game. They went for it on 4th down at the beginning of the game on the goal line, ran a fiddly special. Like, Michigan made mistake after mistake after mistake. But my thing is, why I'm so confident is TCU capitalized on every single one of those mistakes and really like punched them in the mouth when they needed to. And so that's why I'm confident in TCU. But that is a good argument that Michigan did lose that game.
Yeah, Michigan lost it more than TCU won it. Is an argument I've seen a lot because of the mistakes Michigan has made and some questionable calls that Michigan fans don't like and stuff like that. But if there's a team that I think deserves to be here, it's TCU. They have done everything they can to be here, whether it was blowout wins, close wins like in that Baylor game. They are a battle-tested team, and I'm happy they made it here. If I had to go with a score, I'd say something like 42 to 36 TCU.
Wow.
Horny Toads.
Horny Toads, baby. The Hypno Toad is in full effect. And with that, we conclude our football talk for the night.
Amen.
And we are on to Reese's subject.
We're on to
I warned y'all.
the MLS.
No, absolutely not. Messi's here. Hello. But I warned everyone before this episode. On the last episode, I said this is going to be a long one. And you know what? It's going to be. We might be here until 9 o'clock. Who knows? But
Soundman's not going to be happy.
I hope
Soundman
not.
can kiss my butt.
I got work in the morning.
It sucks to be you. Don't work. NBA talk. We got to talk about the Pels.
Our New Orleans
We got to
Pelicans.
talk about the Pels. I'm repping them right now.
Right now.
Right now. Repping the Pels.
I'm repping the boys right now.
You are repping the boys. Shout out to Reese for the Off the Dome t-shirt. If you like an Off the Dome t-shirt, let us know at offthedomesportspod@gmail.com. Send us an email or comment on any of our Facebook posts for an Off the Dome t-shirt.
Byron's repping his normal Riverside baseball shirt that he wears every day.
I haven't worn this actually in a very long since I moved into the apartment. 'Cause
How about it?
It's been at my parents' house, and I just found it.
What do you know? Good for this guy. But yeah, let's talk about the Pels. We're 24-14, third in the Western Conference.
Zion pulled a hammy.
Zion pulled a hammy. He's out for at least 3 weeks.
Strained a hammy. Correct.
BI should be coming back soon. They listed him out for tonight, but he's
in the
got
next
braids
week
in
or
his
so.
hair. So you know what BI with braids means he's ready to rock and roll.
That
So
means he's
hopefully he
hitting
should
that
be here
mid-range
soon.
Jumper for sure.
Oh yeah. So right now we're without Zion, we're without BI, our two best players. What are you seeing from his team that you do like, and what are you seeing from his team that you don't like, Reese?
Seeing Zion back and at his full potential has been like the biggest takeaway this season.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I say the biggest takeaway, but it's actually kind of the second biggest takeaway because everybody pulling from the same side of the rope, whether it be Willie Hernan Gomez, who only sees the floor every 4 games, Jackson Hayes, who steps up just randomly, Jose going for 36, something like
37.
that, 37 against the Nuggets, and they were needed. CJ pulling 11 threes against the Sixers. Yeah. Like everybody is trying to win. Every post-game press conference that the reporters are setting up people to like try to make themselves feel good about themselves, say that you're the best player in the NBA, Zion, please say it. And he's just sitting there, I'm just glad we won. I do what it takes to win. I put up 34 and 8 and 6, and all I care about is that we won.
Yeah. I think chemistry really is what this team's about. You can look at the culture of this team and you're like, they don't play because they want to make money. They don't play because they want personal accolades. They play because they love each other and they love the game of basketball. And I think that's what that's what we're seeing night in and night out from this Pels team. It doesn't matter who's playing, someone's going to step up. We've seen Najee Marshall be one of the biggest guys on this team. And before the year, I was saying if there's anyone who shouldn't see the rotation, it's Najee Marshall. Like before the year, I was like, why is he playing? Like you could find a guy like him at the Dollar Tree. But the Pels are 9-1 when Najee Marshall scores 15 or more points.
Yes, like shout out to my favorite Pels podcast from the Wing. They talk about I forgot where I was going. Oh, Christian Clark is the beat writer for the New Orleans Pelicans for NOLA.com and stuff. And so he almost asked Zion every game in the post game press conference, "What do you think about being in the MVP conversation?" And Zion just hits the nail on the head every time. We're gonna win, and this is all we're here for, is to get a W. And they were talking about Najee Marshall being a complete wing. Like, yes, he shoots a 36% or something like that, and that's not very efficient. But when he needs to be on, he's on.
Yeah.
And they always talk about how before we had this group of wings, we didn't have wings.
Right.
Dante Cunningham was
Dante
our starter.
Cunningham and Etwan Moore.
Yes, was our regular
Solomon
starters.
Hill was in
Yes.
there. Darius Miller was in there. Like,
And so-
we had bums.
The fact that we have a surplus of wings just like makes you feel great. Dyson Daniels has been amazing. Herb Jones is doing his thing. Najee Marshall is there when you need him. Your favorite player, Trey, him,
Fee the him.
feed the him. Trey Murphy III has been electric.
Kenneth Murphy the third.
Yes, but he only hits shots from
Call him by his government name.
He only hits shots from what the Pelicans practice facility has, the 4-point line. He can never hit a shot if his feet are on the line, if we're being honest. But yeah, it's been amazing.
How dare you? He's a great dunker, by the way. Watch some Trey Murphy dunks. You'll be impressed.
He was mad the other night when he dunked that thing.
He was bad. Byron, what's your thoughts on this Pels team?
I'm just glad they're kind of living up to my expectations.
For sure.
That's truth. Shout out the Saints.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all had them between the 3rd and 4th seed, and right now they're the 3rd seed. Like, it's shout out to the Pels, baby.
We talked about them being equivalent to the Nuggets. All three of us said that.
Yeah.
And the Nuggets are the 1 seed right now, but we're separated by like a half a game or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just really like how young our team is and how even the younger guys are stepping forward. Like the other night when you went to the game, what was our starting five? It was like CJ, Garrett Temple.
Garrett Temple.
Yeah, it was no Dyson,
did not-
no Herb.
Garrett Temple didn't start, but he was the 6th man.
Yeah, there's no Dyson, no Herb, no
it was
Zion,
CJ,
no BI.
Devontae.
Trey.
No, I think Trey.
No, Jose
Trey
started.
was hurt. I think Devontae started.
Oh, okay.
It was like Devontae, CJ. Herb was out. Trey was out.
Jackson.
I think we had Jackson,
Najee.
Najee, and Jonas. That was our starting five, which are, we had 2 guys in there who, if we're fully healthy, probably only get about 6 minutes, 8 minutes a game. And Devontae and Jackson. So it's weird. It was weird. And yet, to your point that I'm sure you were about to make, we still won the game.
Yeah.
And handedly against a healthy Pacers team.
Yeah, I hung out with Byron for like an hour that night, and I was like, imagine paying to go watch this game. No,
He ate
none of these
those
people.
words.
And yet,
they won.
it was a
incredible.
great game to be at.
Yeah, it was.
On a random Monday night, they had about 95% occupancy in the Blender.
It was like 2 days after Christmas, something like that.
Yeah, it was the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
It was a great game, but continue.
That was pretty much wrapping it up. Like I was saying, how young these guys are, and they're still stepping up into these leadership roles when their original leaders aren't available to play.
So, we have our inconsistencies here and there. If we were to make a trade, which we don't know if we will or not. I mean, I'm suspecting we'll do at least a little bit of something. If we were to make a trade, Rebo Hustle.
Thank you.
Who would the trade be for? Who do you think fits this Pels team, and who do you think would take us over that hump?
If Miles Turner was on a contract, he'd be the
This
guy.
guy.
But so like,
Go on, Miles Turner.
I mean,
like it.
the
True to
biggest
his word.
thing was like, why is JV not closing games? Why is Larry closing every game?
And Larry's hurt now too. So.
Yeah. And so, honestly, I feel like it'd be idiotic to make a huge move, like a big splash.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I honestly did not list any small change or anything. I think that they have lightning in a bottle like the Bengals did.
Mhm.
And I think that they can just ride that wave. There's no expectation on this young team.
Yeah.
But like Turner has 1 year left on his deal. We'd be giving up way too much to get him for just a year rental for half a year, really.
Yeah.
And he's raised his stock significantly. Honestly, I think the Pacers are going to extend him after the All-Star break.
He looks fantastic this year.
And the other guy is Porzingis, and I just feel like he's too fragile. We talk about all these stars being hurt. We talk about all our stars being hurt. CJ's missed a lot of games. BI missed a lot of games. Zion's missed a lot of games. Who hasn't missed any games? Jonas.
That's
Jonas
true.
has been a rock.
Jonas has been playing every single game. That's a fact.
Except in
and-
the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't see the floor because Willie's a big matchup guy and likes Larry in certain matchups. But also, Kristaps Porzingis has a very odd riser in his contract. Like, I think he gets like
I think
$1
it's
million raise or something like
yeah.
that.
I think
next
it's
season.
six,
We can't
six and a half, 7 million more than it is this year.
We can't afford that when you need to sign all these guys that are playing on low money who are showing that they're worth money. Who I don't even know if we don't sign if we don't trade for Kristaps, if we can even sign those guys.
Yeah, that's fair.
And so I think staying home. Hopefully, you get your guys back next season, and that's when you make your huge push. But I just don't like a 1-year rental, and I don't like another fragile star.
Yeah, I fair. I really don't think this team needs to make a huge move to win in the playoffs. I'm not saying we're like gonna win the championship. I don't want to say that because it's biased without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if this. Yeah, I don't know if this roster is built to win a championship. But I think our biggest piece we're missing right now is 3-point consistency. We shoot the second least amount of threes in the league, and we make the third least. So
that's kind of why I love the idea of Miles Turner and a Buddy Hield in a deal. Like, yeah, you might have to give up Trey Murphy for that.
Right.
Yeah, you give up multiple picks. But, like, Buddy
both
Hield's
of those
going to
guys
shoot
threes.
Miles Turner's going to shoot, give you some rim protection. It was an ideal thing, but the fact that Miles Turner's just on a 1-year deal, it's just not.
Yeah, it's
not
not. It doesn't work
helpful.
for us. Yeah, that's right. Because we want long-term stuff. Because this core should stick around for a long time.
Yep.
I think if we are going to make a move, I think you make a smaller move and you get a guy who you know is going to knock down a 3-point shot. I don't know who that guy is. I know Bojan Bogdanovich's name has been floated around there.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Luke Kennard.
Oh, Mahmoud Keefe, baby.
He will knock down some shots.
Yeah, I mean, that type of player is exactly what I'm thinking. If you can trade Jackson Hayes and a pick for a guy who you know is going to knock down a 3, I'd do that deal. So if we can get a guy like Luke Kennard or that mold of player where it's a guy who's going to come in and shoot 43, 44% from 3 after taking about 5 or 6 a game, give me that guy on the Pels, and I think that makes a difference.
Yeah, I'm kind of sitting in the same boat as y'all. I don't really think we should make a move. If we were in win now mode, yeah, I would say make a move, but we're not.
No, our team is so young.
And I'm
we don't
glad
need
we're
to win
not
now.
because we don't need to be in win now mode. We need to be in win eventually, but win multiple.
Win eventually, but win multiple.
Correct.
I like that. That's a good. I like the way you phrase that, Mustang.
But if we were to make a trade, whether it be this season, next season, I think we need a defensive anchor with some experience. Because once you get to the playoffs in the NBA, just like football, it's a whole different monster. You're seeing the same team over and over again. And if they notice that Jonas can't close out the fourth quarter, they're going to be attacking that.
Yeah.
Trying to think of some players. Miles Turner has been very good on defense this season, so he'd be one I could think of.
Yeah, if he takes a salary-friendly extension, like maybe 18, we can trade for him in the offseason. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But extension, I don't think is eligible to get traded for until near the All-Star break next year. So
It would have to be a sign and trade.
Yeah, it's hard to like think about Miles Turner even signing a friendly deal when he's doing what he's doing this
openly
year. Talking about getting traded to the Lakers.
Yeah. Fact.
Wojbot.
All right. So moving on to the NBA in general, real quick, because we don't want the camera to die on us now.
I'm gonna go check the light
please
on
do.
that.
NBA in general, Reese, what is your biggest surprise of the season? Positive or negative? What is your biggest surprise of the season?
I've got 2. The Warriors being 3-16 on the road is kind of strange.
Yeah, I mean they just won the finals.
That's kind of all I got on them. But 2 out of the 3 blockbuster trades this offseason have not worked for the team that traded for the star. Whereas, so like Timberwolves traded Rudy Gobert, and he was supposed to bring the defense. Yes, Cat's out, and they're not looking so great, but their defensive efficiency hasn't changed.
No,
And that's
they're
the whole
still
reason they
bad
traded for him.
defensively. Yeah,
And then the Hawks traded for DeJounte Murray. And yes, it's not on DeJounte Murray, but they're a dumpster fire. The head coach is trying to retire. They're trying to trade Trae Young, all kind of weird stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got on that.
That's fair. That's a really good point. Like most people probably don't think about is, we had those off-season trades and they're not working. Like the Jazz are a better team than the Timberwolves right now.
Muted my mic.
Oh, yeah, I did. My bad.
And they cleaned house.
Yeah, the Jazz were tanking for Vic, and they're better than the Timberwolves are.
Got a bunch of role players, and a lot of them stepped up.
Larry Markkinen, we're going to talk about him in a minute. And then with the Hawks, they're barely in the play-in right now. They lose one more game, and they're out of the top 10 seeds. So it's a really interesting thing to see how trades have affected the NBA this year. I would say my most surprising thing in general, I would like to say the Kings, but I had the Kings making the play-in anyway, so
Yeah.
I thought they were going to be good.
I kind of expect them to be pretty close to where they're at right now.
I thought they were definitely going to make the play-in, and I put the Lakers in whenever we had the pod, but I was like, I think this spot belongs to the Kings.
Yeah. I think I had the Kings at 9, but right now they're at 5. Like they're not even they're locked up a playoff spot if the season ended today.
Yeah, with the strange year from the Warriors on the road and the Suns being a little off.
You did call that.
It looked bad at the beginning when I called that because they were hot.
Yeah,
They
and
said
they have
play in
definitely
who?
the sun went out in Phoenix
When the sun goes down.
on my side of town. The New Orleans Pelicans are the number 1 seed. But yeah, that's kind of where we're sitting at right now in the NBA. Pels are looking great. I'm really happy. And fans are showing up too in New Orleans. And I think that's a really big thing for this Pels team is the atmosphere inside the Smoothie King Center every night is electric.
The blender.
The players are feeling it. Coach Willie Green is feeling it. I think Gail Benson's taking notice. It's a great time to be a Pels fan. So every episode, we love to do our bets, Rebo. So our first bet, we're going to go to football again, but not very long. I promise we'll get back to basketball. But real quick, we want to do an absolute 3-leg lock for the NFL weekend. Absolute lock. Doesn't matter how high or low the odds are. We want to give the people a parlay that is guaranteed to hit. I'll do mine first, real quick. Jags money line over the Titans.
Amen.
Bengals money line over the Ravens because Lamar is out. Guaranteed out. Bengals are not losing to Tyler Huntley.
That's just the first part of the 1-2 two-piece.
And then, you got to get the 1 before you get the 2.
Correct.
And then Bills -7 against the Patriots. Bills are going to smoke the Patriots this weekend. At 20, maybe 20. Bills are going to absolutely destroy. So give me Jags money line, Bengals money line, Bills -7. You can get that at plus 232.
Oh, okay.
I've got the biggest.
You've got the biggest odds.
Yeah, biggest odds. So go ahead.
I'll pull together a three money line lock.
Okay.
We got the Chiefs, Bills, Vikings. 3 locks.
Yeah.
Only at plus 125, but bet a lot. Make a little bit more than a lot.
Hey, there you go. That's the way to do it. At least double your money. All right, Rebo.
All right, I got Jags covering the spread at 6.5.
Okay.
So Jags -6.5. I went for a same game parlay instead of just.
Instead of
Picking
like
games.
multiple team. Okay, I see what you mean. Same game
So I
parlay.
got Trevor for plus 200 yards passing, and I've also got Trevor for an anytime touchdown
Ooh.
at plus 647.
Got him sneaking one in, huh?
Got him using the legs.
And what was the odds on that one?
Plus 647.
Ooh, that's some good odds. I like that. Is this a lock, though?
I believe. I bet it.
Oh, hey, if you put money on it, I trust it.
I believe that he will.
So those are our 3-leg locks for this NFL weekend. Bet all 3 of those if you nasty. All right. Getting back to basketball, we're going to do mid-season awards. So we are about 38 of 82 games. The the way through the season, so we're just under 50%. So this is basically our little mid-season point. We're going to talk about who we think is going to win each award in the NBA, kind of just quickly go over why we picked each person, and then if you parlayed them, what would the odds be on this parlay?
Oh, I didn't get that last memo.
Don't worry about it.
It's fine. Looking at yours, high.
Yes, very high.
So,
I'm gonna.
Mr. Basketball, why don't you start us off with your MVP pick?
I've got me and Bryce's favorite player that's not a Pelican, Jason Tatum.
He's my favorite player in general. I don't care
Nope.
if he's a Pelican or not.
Mm-mm.
My
Can't say
favorite
that.
player in the league.
You can't say that.
I can say what I want.
Trey Murphy exists.
Oh, damn.
So I've got him. I mean,
He's 1B.
He's been amazing.
Jason Tatum is a dog.
I don't know if they'll give it to him, but he's definitely proved that he's deserving.
Yeah.
Celtics are on fire,
They're number one in the East right now.
and like by no questions asked. Like the West, the number one seed changes every day, whereas the Celtics have had their reigns of first for I think the whole
Pretty much
season.
day one, yeah.
Yeah. You want to go all,
Yeah, you can go through all
Okay.
yours.
and I've got the clear pick for Rookie of the Year. There's only one other person that it could be, but I've got Paulo Banchero for
Yeah.
the Magic for Rookie of the Year.
Better than Kyrie Irving.
Yes. Actually, Kyrie Irving's been pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
lately.
Yeah, that's my point. Jack Wagon.
Jackwagon.
That's an inside thing for y'all. Don't worry.
Defensive Player of the Year, I've got Brooke Lopez.
Yeah.
He's having a good
Which
year.
He is
kinda
having a
weird.
fantastic defensive year.
It's like so weird to say Brooke Lopez
Right.
being in
In
Defensive Player of the Year conversation.
2023.
Yeah.
Brooke Lopez.
Well, because
But he's
in the-
anchoring one of the best
in
defenses.
the beginning of his career, he was a post you up and scored 25 a game and
Nets.
didn't really play defense and couldn't shoot the three.
New Jersey
And
Nets.
now all he does is shoot the three and play defense. So
Yeah.
he's really evolved his game for the current NBA. Shout out to Brooke Lopez. It's a good pick.
And then my MIP, I've got Laurie, but I think it's going to go to Shea.
It's probably going to go to Shea.
But it was weird that they gave it to Ja last year. Normally it's like a almost no-name guy that becomes a role player. And so they gave it to Ja last year instead of Desmond Bain. This year, yes, Shea's numbers have looked a lot better, but he has no talent around him, and it's kind of only like minuscule how much his numbers has changed, but he's a leading, whereas Lauri Markkanen is astronomically changed from
Yeah.
being just a stand in the corner 3-point guy for both the Bulls and the Cavs, and now he's leading a team, and that's big. But for six man, I've got Malcolm Brogdon, which FanDuel won't let you bet because I have Jason Tatum as my MVP. You can't parlay on the same team for some reason. Malcolm Brogdon's been huge off the bench for the Celtics. I think it might be tough for him because I think the Celtics like the matchups, so they make Malcolm Brogdon start sometimes, and so he might not be eligible.
yeah. But if he were,
Yeah, but if he's eligible, he's been amazing. He's like, there's a reason that he's playing starter minutes all the time.
yeah.
And so those odds are 39,990.
Big numbers.
Up there, yeah.
Big numbers.
Not as up there as mine.
All right, give it to us.
All right. For MVP, I have the betting favorite right now in Luka Doncic.
Don.
He's having one hell of a season.
Absolutely.
I know even like about a month ago, I think the top three were like Tatum, Jokic, Embiid. He wasn't even in the top three, and now he's the front runner.
Yeah.
He did start the season number 2 in the running, but
Yeah.
But he
Hell
is-
basketball guy.
He is proving himself this season. Love what I'm seeing out of the kid.
he's our age.
Love what I'm seeing out of the kid. That was funny.
For Rookie of the Year, I have Paolo. Really coming into that role, which people thought he would. And it's good to see a young player. The kid.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be the kid.
All right, who's your next kid?
For Depoy, I have Giannis.
Akuna Matata City.
Yep, him. Giannis. Same team as Rebo Hustle's
Defensive player. of the year.
Depoy. I think it could go either way between them because,
Yeah. I think they're the
They
two
definitely
betting
play a
favorites right
large
now.
role.
and then for MIP, I have Laurie. Which, if like he said, if you go by what happened last year and they give it to Ja, the same thing will probably happen where they give it to Shea. But I do think, in true with the name of the award, Laurie has improved the most.
Yeah, I would
Agreed.
agree.
I think we all have him.
Yeah.
And
too.
for
Spoiler
sixth man, I have Jordan Poole, who is once again having a great six-man season, even though he got knocked out
By Draymond.
by his own teammate
Yes.
in
He
the
was
beginning
shot
of
at
the
beginning
season.
of the season. That might count against him.
Well,
Yeah.
he had gotten knocked out.
But he got up again.
I get knocked
Love what I'm seeing out of the kid.
All right, so I'll go through mine. MVP, I have the first ever three-peat in NBA history with Jokic.
Negative.
It's not going to happen.
Not happening.
It's not going to happen. You're right.
He is still leading
But
all.
the way I
major
see it
statistics.
is who should be MVP, and for me it's Jokic because they're the number one seed in the West, and he's averaging a 25-point triple-double. That's MVP. That's MVP. You are the best player on the best team in your conference, and you're
leading every
averaging.
advanced stat.
I think they're running the team around trying to get him an absurd amount of MVPs.
See what? Maybe so. He had 3 points at halftime last night, and they still won the game by like 30. That's what Jokic impacts the game more than almost any other player in the league. Just his passing, his court vision, what he does to defenses. I like Jokic as MVP for a three-peat rookie of the year. I'm with y'all, Paolo. He's averaging 20 plus as a rookie, and the Magic have been a lot better than they were supposed to be. Paolo is the rookie of the year. There's no question. Defensive player of the year, I'm sticking with my preseason pick and Bam Adebayo. I think he's the third or fourth favorite. He's probably not going to win it, but the Heat are a top 5 defense in every statistic right now. I looked it up this morning. I didn't think so either, Reese. I know you just made that face.
They've
I
been
looked it up.
horrible.
They over the past 2 weeks, they have went from the 17th to the 5th best defense. Very crazy. But Bam is a large part of that. We know he's a very good defender on every level, perimeter, mid, and great rim protector. So I have Bam as Defensive Player of the Year. I think it's just tough between Brook and Giannis. Those are the two favorites. I could easily see it going to Brook or Giannis, but I have Bam just to switch it up a little bit. MIP's Lauri Markkanen. Before this year, his best career average was like 17.5 his rookie year, and now he is the best player on a playoff team.
28 or something like that.
Yeah, like Lauri is playing absolutely phenomenal this year.
He dropped a 40 piece.
Yeah,
What was it, last night or the night before?
I think it was last night. Either
Could be
way,
any night how the NBA scoring.
I think it was last night. But yeah, like y'all were saying with Shea, he's probably going to win it because he's averaging over 30. So everybody's going to be like, oh, Shea went from 28 to 30. But Lauri went from like 12 to like 26.
Yeah.
So Lauri is the most improved player. And then for six man, I have Russell Westbrook. I think Jordan Poole, his biggest issue is he's probably going to start too many games to qualify because Steph Curry's out and Klay Thompson's never a bet to stay healthy. So Jordan
They
Poole's
sit a
going to
lot of
find
games,
his way into the starting lineup too many times, and they'll probably be like, well, he's not really a six man if he started
eligible. Yeah.
35 games. I think it's Russ because at the beginning of the year he stunk, but he's really picked it up, and he is a big part of that Lakers team. Even though they suck, he's one of the bright points with AD being out. It's basically him and LeBron versus the world. So, seeing a name like Russell Westbrook put up stats off the bench, they're gonna try to be nice to the Lakers somehow because they're not even gonna make the playoffs.
I think it's crazy how, like, not that long ago, Westbrook was triple-double every game.
32-point triple-double, winning back-to-back MVPs. Like, yeah.
When
He
he comes
was
off the
him.
bench for the Lakers, he's 16, 8, 7, and that's the game. Like, yeah, he's not scoring as much as efficiently as he used to, but he's not getting as many minutes, and he really thrives whenever people around him aren't as good as LeBron and AD.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Rebo. To wrap up this
check
episode of the
the-
podcast,
Camera life one more time.
we're going to do something
I
that
don't
you did
like-
not expect to do.
I don't like what page you're on.
So, what we are doing here, since you are our college basketball guy as well,
Oh, no.
what we are going to do... Michael Jordan. Okay. So, what we are going to do is we are going to ask you to name every Pelicans Players College.
Oh, yeah, that's easy.
Byron and I were doing this the other night,
That's easy peasy.
but you're going to have a team after this as well.
Oh yeah.
Um,
And I'm gonna spin a wheel.
He's going to spin a wheel
no.
to pick it while I'm asking you this. He's going to find another team. So we were doing this the other night, and we were like, "This would be great for Reese." So starting us off, C.J. McCollum,
Lehigh,
Brandon Ingram,
Duke,
Herb Jones,
Alabama,
Zion Williamson, Jonas.
International,
What country?
That was part of it as well.
Lithuania.
Yes.
But he plays for the Latvian national team.
There we go. Look at this guy, Jose Alvarado,
Georgia Tech.
Kenneth Murphy III.
Trey Murphy. He played at Rice, and then he played at Virginia.
Wow, he even did
Look at him
Rice.
go.
Dyson Daniels.
G League from Australia.
Nationality. There it is.
Man, he's on it. Larry Nance Jr. I knew this would be
UCLA?
no.
No.
There are two teams I knew would give you a problem. Two names
Two
I knew would
names.
give you a problem, and this is one of them. He played in the Mountain West Conference.
I'm not going to get it.
I'm gonna keep on giving you hints. until you
Oh, I
guess.
have a picture of him.
Yes.
Is it like Montana or something?
Probably about as many people and about as useless. The colors are brown and yellow.
I don't think I'm
It is the same college that Josh
Wyoming?
Allen played at.
Wyoming.
Yes. Najee Marshall.
Red. Najee Marshall played at
They're basically only
Xavier.
known for basically only known for basketball. Is
I
where
knew
I was
that.
going to go with that one. Jackson Hayes,
Texas,
Devontae Graham,
Kansas,
Kira Lewis Jr.,
Bama,
Billy Hearn Gomez.
Spain. I don't know if he played
He is from
college.
Spain. He did not go to college. And finally,
Cruz.
to end it all off, the worst player on our team, G Temp, Garrett Temple.
LSU, baby.
Go Tigers. Byron, did you find another team for him?
It is spinning.
It is spinning. All right.
like this.
Who's it going to be?
We're zooming in.
Oh, easy money, baby. Let's go.
Who was it?
Can I get a
Lakers.
respin? It was the
The Lakers?
That's easy. That's too easy.
We're gonna give it to him anyway. We have to.
Okay.
We're true to ourselves on here. All right. I've got to move my laptop so Reese cannot see the answers. Dennis Schroeder.
He's German.
Did he go to college?
I don't believe.
You would be correct. Patrick Beverly.
P-Bev.
I thought it was easy.
Not as
Reese.
easy as you thought.
The same one I got. I don't have that one.
He played in the SEC.
I'd say like South Carolina,
Wrong. He played the same place as Moses Moody.
Arkansas.
Yes. Lonnie Walker, the fourth.
Hair.
He's bald now.
Hair be gone.
Hair be gone indeed. Lonnie Walker, the fourth,
Kansas.
played in the ACC.
He played in the ACC, but he
Yes.
didn't play for Florida State.
No, he did not.
He's not long enough for that.
No, he is not a 6'9" wing who plays very good defense.
He's. I don't think I have that one. either.
Lonnie
Clemson?
Walker, no.
Louisville.
No. He played for the same college as David Njoku.
That didn't help. Oh, that
In the ACC.
did help me. I learned.
I'm trying to
David
name
Njoku the
players
other
who
day.
won't give it away immediately.
Is it Syracuse?
It is not. Let's think of another player. Reggie Wayne played here.
You're naming NFL people. You
Correct. I don't know.
this.
Oh, okay, fine. Jimmy Graham
Miami.
played basketball at the
Miami.
school. Miami.
I knew David Njoku played for Miami.
LeBron.
High
St.
school.
Mary's High School.
St. Vincent, St. Mary,
St. Vincent St. Mary. Anthony Davis.
Duke. No, Kansas, Kentucky.
Oh my God! You named
Crap.
all three of the basketball schools. Thomas Bryant.
Oh.
He played
It's
at
one of the big schools.
It is, I would say, arguably one of the top 10 basketball schools history wise.
It's not UNC. It's
No.
not Duke.
The team colors are red and white,
That means it's
and is the name of a
Louisville.
state.
Oh, it's the name of the state. Kansas,
Nope.
That would be red and blue.
I guess.
They are in the
Nebraska.
nope. I believe
They're
they're
not a
in the
basketball school.
Big 12 conference. If I
Texas
remember
Tech?
correctly. No. I don't. Let me.
Here we go.
They have an
don't even
NBA
know.
team in this state as well. I'm trying to give you hints.
Indiana.
Yes.
Oh, the
Indiana.
Hoosiers.
The Hoosiers.
Okay.
Russ.
Who's your daddy?
The only hint that
Gerald.
would have got me there was Victor Oladipo.
Yeah. Russ.
Oh, Russ, UCLA.
Austin Reeves.
Texas A&M.
No,
That's
but
Alex
same
Jones'
color scheme.
I don't have it.
Buddy Hield.
Oklahoma.
Yes. Troy Brown Jr. Same school as Bowl.
Oregon.
Yes.
I knew that.
Your favorite NBA player, other than Kenny Hustle, Juan Toscano Anderson.
I don't have that one either.
He went to the same school as Jimmy Butler.
Marquette.
Yes. Winyon Gabriel.
Oh, he was a Pelican. I should have known.
He was a Pelican at one point. He went to one of the big three.
Kansas.
Nope.
Kentucky.
Correct.
I knew it wasn't Duke.
All right, we are whittling down here. We've got 4 names left.
This is a huge roster.
The first being Damian Jones.
No, he doesn't exist.
He's been in the league for
Jabari Smith.
not Auburn.
I have no idea. Surely ain't Ole Miss. They don't have one.
Nope. They are black and gold.
Missouri.
Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt, indeed.
Ah.
Next name up, Max Christie. He's a second-round rookie this year.
I can't even see Max Christie in my mind.
I also didn't know he
Does he
existed
even have a
before this.
picture?
Yes, he does have a picture.
Is he related to Doug Christie?
It didn't help.
Same place as Le'Veon Bell, Draymond Green.
Michigan State.
There we go. And then the last name we're looking at here, Kendrick Nunn. Because
Undrafted.
how many
to
games has he
Miami.
played this year?
None.
There you go.
You sure?
Pretty sure.
He also never got.
I just know he
Austin
got
Reeves.
undrafted and went to Miami. I don't remember what
Oh,
college.
I lied. He has played a lot this year.
Yeah,
I thought he was injured the entire season.
No,
Oh, look at me.
I have no idea.
He went to the same school as Kofi Cockburn,
Illinois.
Illinois. And that'll do it for
Well,
Reese's.
you got to bring it back to Austin Reeves.
I already told y'all Austin Reeves.
No, you didn't.
It was the same school as Buddy Hield.
Yeah, it's Oklahoma.
Oh,
This
okay.
guy.
Okay.
Mustang, his ears are not working
Do you have
like they
enough
used to.
battery?
Guys putting up 13 points each, and that is Najee Marshall and Jose Alvarado.
Wow. So one of the segments that we mentioned that we were talking about before with the pod was, what do you see the Pelicans' floor and peak without a trade?
Yep.
And so I think they're a team that can make the finals. Yes.
Yeah.
The playoffs are like so matchup dependent. I think there's 2 teams that will give us trouble if we match up. The Memphis Grizzlies have this weird Zion stopper defense that they drew up, where they put Dylan Brooks on the ball, and they switch one of their 3 premier shot blockers, Steven Adams, Jaren Jackson, or Brandon Clark. They switched them onto a non-shooter, but not in the dunker spot. And so they'll switch him on to Herb Jones. They'll switch him on to Najee, who's not shooting very efficient, but we know he can hit it. And so they will give us fits. And I also think the Jazz would give us fits because they don't care about defense and they're just saying, outscore me. And they have so many people that can score. Like, that was a lot of the 2 trade packages were just like pure scorers, basically. Yeah. And then you have Jared Vanderbilt, who gets a lot of offensive rebounds. And so I think those 2, if we get matched up with either one of those 2, it's going to be a tough ride. So we could get bounced in the first round if that's a matchup. But
Yeah.
I do think that they can make the finals. Do I think that they can win the finals with how good the top teams in the East are? No. But experience is experience. It would be nice for us to get past the first round at least.
Yeah. I would say fully healthy, our ceiling is the finals. I would say our floor is if we're fully healthy, I think a second round exit would be our floor, because the way I see the playoffs coming out, I don't think we could match up with the Grizzlies, because I think we're going to be a top 3 seed. Grizzlies will probably be 1 or 2.
Could
and
match
then
up with the Jazz. Though.
We could match up with the Jazz, but I see the Jazz kind of being in that 7-8 spot, and I don't know if we'll be 1 or 2. If we're 1 or 2 and the Jazz are 7 or 8, then it'll be a problem. But I think we'll both kind of be out of each other's range. So I see a second round bounce as kind of being our floor right now. Ceiling, we can win the finals.
Yeah.
And your thoughts, Mustang?
I definitely agree with your ceiling, and that I think this team has potential to make a run to the championship, and who knows, maybe win it.
Yeah.
It all depends on the matchup.
Yeah, like
finals.
Yeah, we
matchups are very important for the Pels.
We have seen how great Zion how great the Pels have been with just Zion and CJ and not BI. So you get all three of them healthy, it'll be tough to beat for sure.
Yeah.
But floor wise, if they're healthy, if we keep shooting the way we are from beyond the arc, I can see us start to fall down the rankings a little bit and
Yeah.
lose some of these close games. So floor, I would say similar to Reese in the first round exit.
Yeah. I agree with Reese as well on that Grizzlies Jazz take. We do not match up well against those teams because the Jazz are absolute lights out shooters and the Grizzlies are a very athletic defensive team that learned how to stop Zion. So that's going to do it tonight for the Off the Dome Sports Podcast. This is one of my favorite pod episodes that we've done yet. I love when Rebo comes on and we get to talk about basketball, talk about football, whatever the case may be. We always have fun when you're on. We need to get you
Thanks,
more.
Dad.
You're welcome, son. We need to get you on more often, buddy. But yeah, this will do it for this episode of the Off the Dome Sport Podcast. Mustang had to go be our sound man. Rebo.
That was your day.
Tuesday next week, Friday next week, we will be on the pod. It'll either be 6 or 7. Ooh, very good point. On Friday, we may have friend of the show, Gage Gill.
Fighter extraordinaire.
Fighter extraordinaire, indeed. His next fight will be coming up very soon, so we'll make sure to have him on so he can talk about that. He's been on a couple times. We'll have him on again. Rebo, want to thank you for coming on, buddy. You were awesome. So glad to have you. To the people out there, this has been the Off the Dome Sports Podcast, and we will see you next time.
Can y'all quit acting like y'all didn't know? Yeah, took a break, but better hold your nose. Yeah, I've been cooking, don't inhale the smoke. Been busy dropping hooks, Peter Pan can't leave his home. Hey, yeah, I prefer the backseat, I prefer a taxi. Who needs all the limelight? That be too distracting. Seen too many people reach the top just to lose it all for me to think that this be everlasting. Life was getting heavy, man, it had me feeling bloated. Had to reevaluate, began to change my focus. Heard too many stories that she never had been open. Met too many souls that did not have to be broken. Now they're forced to cover scars, but I see that they swollen. Saddest thing is most of us had the right motive. Scary when you think you got the cure, but it's a poison. Please excuse my rant, maybe next time I'll